Okay, so I'm going to get started. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining us to our very occasional live streams. Yeah, always a pleasure to have you here and always a pleasure to do them. And I wanted to just mention, I'll just say that I'm hosting and Lavanda will be typing. So she'll be keyboard warrioring on the side there. And we'll be answering your questions that way. I will read out the answers so that people in the video reading this later can also get to hear what she said. And I'll, of course, pass my comments as I do that. So we're going to hang out for an hour or so, answer you guys' questions, and also let us know how you guys are doing, what's happening in your life through this. I know in South Africa we're having a lockdown, and I think in a lot of part of the world's doing something very similar. So I hope you're keeping safe, and what are you doing to be creative in all this process? Okay, let me just see if anyone's here. Lavanda's here, great. Thank you, Lauren. Okay. So yeah, the format for today will be a question and answer, and I'll be telling you a little bit about a new song we're developing, which I'll get to a bit later. So make sure you stick around for that. Okay. So there's Russell's already asked a question, but I'm going to start with questions that have been previously asked. One by Phil, and he goes, what drives you to create? Phil, that's a great question. And Lorena, if you can give your response. But I think for me personally, it's like, so the question is, what drives us to create? And I think it's probably a little bit different for between the two of us. For me, I've honestly never really wanted to do anything else. So whenever I take side steps into the corporate world or having to do other kinds of work, it always feels like I'm missing something, that I'm not participating in the kind of life that I want to participate. So I think there's a deep inner need to create. Deep inner need to create something. And I think for both Lavanda and myself, that need also stems from a desire to do something to help create something new, to help create something different to the consensus reality. Now, some might call it magical, some might call it different names, but for us, it's like definitely a desire to create from an innate place, like a deeper place, and hopefully in that journey to create something that gives a slightly different view or possibility than what you experience in everyday life. So let me see if Lavanda has said anything. Yeah, Lavanda agrees. It's something that is just a part of me. I cannot not do it. Double negative. Yeah. I mean, I think we could actually spend an hour just going, like, answering that one question. And I'd actually love to hear from you guys, like, what makes you want to create. So let me yeah, then it says something that's just part of me, but it's just most of what I create never leaves the moment. That's cool. Okay. So I think ultimately, and songs are little micro creations, like guide ropes to the bigger creation. Wow, I'm just going to let her carry on for a bit because I'm enjoying her answers. Cool. Okay. And then I'll probably skip backwards and forwards between answers because I'm going to, while Lavanda's typing, I might start answering other questions, then come back to what she's saying. And then she also says co-creating different ways to live co-creating different ways to live and be would be the start. Songs are just ways to focus vision. Wow, I hope that answers your question. I think, yeah, that's in fact different way of what I said, but the desire to focus attention in a new way, a desire to create something, a desire to think about something in a new way, both within ourselves. I mean, not just for you guys listening, but within ourselves. Like, how do we reach inside and discover something different and unique, or that wants to come through from ourselves and from the universe? Okay. Yep. And like she says, and share that with other people who want to tune into that vision. And I think that's very important, because I don't think Qkumba Zoo is for everyone. You know, I don't want to. As an artist, you can get very like egotistical and like, you know, think that your creations are you know, meaningful for everyone, but it's not true. I think in Qkumba Zoo we realize that really we're just sharing our journey with other people who are also on a similar journey, and that's why it's so awesome to have you guys here. Okay. All right, so just to give Lavana's overall answer again, songs are little micro creations like guide ropes to the bigger creation. Co-creating different ways to live and be would be the tent. So co-creating different ways to live and be would be the tent. Songs are just ways to focus vision and share that with other people who want to tune into that vision. Okay. All right, thank you, Lavana. Let me just go back a bit. And Russell, you asked about new music. We're going to get to it a bit later. And Norman says, you guys are on time. Cyril could learn from you. So that's kind of an inside joke for South Africans, as Cyril is our president and he schedules press releases that he doesn't always arrive on time to. All right, so another question from Sam. Can you describe your live show and what was the set list like and how did Tiki dance during each song? Okay, wow, that's another great question that we could spend quite some time on. All right, so I think what I want to do at some point is I've got some really old photographs from when we first started performing to like, you know, right through our performing career. And if you don't mind, Sam, I'm going to actually perhaps just do a video where I take some of those photographs and I can show you what we were doing at the time. But I think most, you know, Lavana was, you know, there's three basic roles in the band. Lavana was the singer and writer. I was the producer and musician, an occasional singer. And Tiki was our key performance artist. Now, I say key because Lavana also did performance art. But she, so Tiki would do things like fire dancing. She would do things like, she would make props with her friend David John often. And the reason why we had in the band was that we just, both Lavana and I recognized her creative spirit and her creative drive to do something different. And when you look at the kind of look of Qkumba Zoo, I do not claim any responsibility for it. It kind of goes all towards Tiki and Lavana, and I kind of followed along. They had to follow me when it came to, you know, the backing of the music and everything, but when it came to the visuals, it was all Lavana and Tiki, and they sort of told me what to do. But the key thing about Tiki was just how creative she was, and just how she would spark a kind of thing in people about the beauty of what she was doing. And so I think, I don't know if, I mean, I'm not saying we were the only people who did it, but I think we were one of the few bands where the visual component was part of the band. It wasn't like an add-on. And I think it made a big difference to how our performances went. So let me just see what Lavana said. Okay. Yep, she says, wish we had videos to share for that. Yep. She was a contortionist type super creative visual artist who used her body as an element in moving compositions. See, this is why I let Lavena answer, and I don't do all the answering because I think her answers are so cool. So, yeah, moving compositions. I mean, actually, it's a great way of putting it, because we, Lavena and I would focus on musical composition, but then when we performed live and in our videos, there was like a moving composition happening at the same time. And I think a lot of people related to it. I think a lot of you guys probably related to that. So, yeah, thank you, Lavena. Great answer. Okay. Alrighty, I'm just going to look for next question. Yeah, so just to summarize, if you guys want that video where I go through some of the old photographs, please let me know. Give it a thumbs up or something like that. It's nice to see some guys from all over the world. So a lot from South Africa and Joburg, Cape Town, the States. Okay, so we had asked a question earlier, like, what are you guys doing to be creative? Russell goes, well, I used to grab my camera and venture on Saturdays, but now with being locked down, I've spent a lot of time going back through my photographs and reliving the memories. But the coolest thing is dragging my own poetry out of the archives. I've started sharing, and I've started sharing it and writing again. So that is amazing. I really look forward to sharing some of that. In fact, if you ever want to share some of that on the Qkumba Zoo page, please feel free. We'd love to see that. Okay, question from Thomas Schwartz. Hi Lavena, hi Al. Do you guys still have the original Child Inside music video? I can't find on YouTube. Thomas, absolutely. In fact, it's, the original. All right, so we made 2 videos. One we did in LA with Reuven Afanador, that we did in about 96, 97. But we did an earlier version here locally in South Africa, and we did 3 videos all in one weekend. We did Child, we did Big, and we did 2 videos. Lavena, help me out here. I think it was just Child and Big. I will, Thomas, if you keep your eye on this page after the live stream, I will find it and I'll share the link, because I know we do have it on here. Okay. Cool. Sunny, how are you? Didi. Didi from Philippines. Awesome. Okay. All right. So Ockett asks, how did you come across the name Qkumba Zoo and what does it mean? Lavena, I'm going to let you type it out before I say anything, because I know your answers will be better. All right. So while Lavena's working on that, going to answer another question from Phil. In what ways do you feel you've grown as an artist over the years, and in what ways have you held on to your emerging self? Phil, you ask these questions that I wish I could spend like hours on, because I think it's such an interesting question. All right, so what have we grown as an artist over the years, and what from our original selves, or the original kind of construction, have we kept? So parking back to the original question about creativity, I think that part never leaves. Obviously, we grow up and things change, and we don't, we express ourselves differently. But so how have we grown? Okay, so I think by the time we hit Qkumba Zoo, Lavena and myself had already been performing for about 4 or 5 years. So in many ways, our songwriting had evolved to a certain point anyway. We weren't, although we were kind of, instant hit, we actually had been working together for about 5 or 6 years before that. And I think how we create together is one of the reasons why I love working with Qkumba Zoo is just because of the intent of what you do when you create, which is to, like I said from the earlier discussion, that evolving, emerging pieces of the story that you want to share with ourselves and with people who are on a similar journey. So I don't think that ever leaves. In fact, it's probably the main reason why I've never left Qkumba Zoo, even though we've gone through ups and downs, is precisely trying to share that journey. So how we've changed, obviously we're not performing at the moment. Life gets on, we grow older, Levanna's got kids. I've done quite a lot of my, excuse me, I've done quite a lot of my solo performance as Owl, going back to acoustic guitar and everything. So I think the songwriting hopefully matures, and I don't know what, I can't tell whether that's a good or bad thing, or whether how it matures. But that spark that, for instance, created the way we performed is still there. So that desire to tap into the original source just never leaves. Okay, let's see if something. Okay, Levanna has given an answer. No, but Phil, that's a great question. Okay. Right. So coming back to Ocket's question about the name for Qkumba Zoo, Levanna writes, Ocket, we were vegetarians at the time, so we joked that the only animals that you ate would be veggie sculptures. The actual name was donated by a friend of ours who had an inspiration while making salad. That's basically it. Again, I had nothing to do with the name except the spelling change. It came through a friend of ours, and Levanna and her were making dinner the one night, making salad, and Janet, her name, one of Janet's on here, donated the name, and then we just molded it. I mean, originally I didn't like the name at all. Thought like that's pretty weird, but never been one to shy away from weird, and over time I grew to like it. And I think sometimes one of the cool things about working with someone like Levanna is that when she knows, she knows. And so she kind of stuck to it, and she hauled me along, and that's how Qkumba Zoo stuck. So obviously, I think we spelt it Qkumba. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about my throat. The proper way of spelling Qkumba, and I thought, no, that's not going to crack it. But QKUMBA, and then we changed it to QCUMBA, and then I thought, no, let's go back to QKUMBA. As that's kind of like to me, that's like the fundamental name, the base name, and I wanted to go back to it. So yeah, Qkumba Zoo. Not terribly exciting, but quite interesting. I think also, if you think about it, a lot of inspiration comes from ordinary everyday things. What you're doing in the moment, if you're paying attention, allows for great creative moments. And again, I had nothing to do with it, but that was one of those through a friend of ours. So okay, I hope that answers your question. Sunny says, I love big. Thank you, Sunny. I do too. So while on the question of big, I think, you might sometimes get asked, well, how do you create? And mostly I would jam something on the keyboard and bring Levanna in, and I can't even remember actually exactly how we did all the stuff, but she'll go, yeah, I like it, no, I don't like it, and then we'd sort of write, and then she'd go away, write the lyrics, come back. I would not pay attention to lyrics until later, and then I realized, oh my God, those are great lyrics. but in the moment, I'll just go, yeah, it's a great melody, let's put it together. So normally most of the lyrics and the melody are hers, and then most of the music is mine. I mean, the backing. On Big, though, is one of those that I started writing. I think the first verse, and I think the chorus is mine. And then Lavanna took it and you know, as always with our stuff, made it that much better. So that's Big. Didi says, you went to Philippines, you loved music. Thank you, Didi. You know, for those of you who don't know, Qkumba Zoo in about 97, 98, we did promo tours around the world. So we spent time in the States. We went around for about 3 to 4 weeks to New York, LA, Chicago, Dallas, Disney World in Florida. And we also then went to Asia. So we went to Hong Kong, Singapore, and the Philippines. And I have to say, the Philippines was such a cool experience for us because we weren't expecting that kind of reaction from the reaction we got from the Philippines, so from people in the Philippines. So we would go, we'd go and do some promo stuff in a shopping center. And we'd get there and it'd be like thousands of people. It was like, we weren't expecting that at all. And I think, I would imagine one of the radio or two of the radio stations picked up on the song and started playing The Child Inside. But the Philippines is a really, we have a really soft spot for the Philippines. And I think in some ways, as kind of emerging countries, we face a lot of the similar issues. And I know that there's probably that connection as well as just the music. So we're so grateful for our music doing so well in the Philippines. Thank you, Didi. Okay, let me see if there's any other questions. Okay. So Lavanna says, yeah. Luana says, coming back to how we write music, I think for me, she says, there's a synergy with Al that takes things to a level I can never go to on my own. And very much likewise for me. So I think there's kind of what we're really good at, the other person is semi-good at, and then coming together, and because we have this common vision for I don't know how we want to create our songs that allows us to create in the way that we do. But I think that synergy, is so important for us. And I think even if you look at a lot of the best bands in the world, there's that synergy between 2, 3, 4, 5 people that on your own just you just don't get the same place. I mean, obviously there's amazing solo artists, and like I love Bob Dylan and Neil Young and Leonard Cohen. But I think people working together can create something amazing. And hopefully Levan and I do it every now and again. Okay. Sam asks, can you please talk a bit about Flesh and Blood and its meaning? Okay, guys, I know my video has stopped, so should have mentioned that I am using somewhat old technology, and my camera that I'm using was made at a time when live streaming wasn't really a thing, and I can't really turn off the auto power save. There we go, come back. So I think Lavanna answering a previous question, like how we evolved. She goes, just at this point in my life, I have to prioritize and make music. Is this a little less key to my mission here than other ways of helping shake the world? So I think music for me has never, my passion for me, my passion for music has never changed. For Lavanna, it has shifted. And that's why as often as I can get into the studio and making music is always a welcome bonus. Also based on what I said earlier about the synergy that we have. Okay, Wayne asks, can you come to perform in Los Angeles when things go back to normal after the pandemic is over? Wayne, thank you, man. I would love to come back to LA and do some performance. As I just mentioned, or Lorraine's answer just right there is, look, I'm not saying we'll never perform again, but right now priorities are shifted mostly for her. If it was up to me, I would get there in a heartbeat. But I think for her, there's other priorities. So I'm not saying it'll never happen, but it's not going to happen in the short term. Sorry, man, but thank you. Really appreciate the question. Okay, so Sam asked about Flesh and Blood. Yeah. When it goes, that is one of those enigmas. So many different kinds of experience in there. I love Flesh and Blood, by the way. Then she writes, okay. I think this is about Flesh and Blood, and not answer to another question. Bodies are so strange to anchor our separateness from each other. At the same time, they are the only way to really touch. Funny, but in these times, I think Flesh and Blood fits what a lot of people feel during lockdown. I can see you on the screens, but I want to hold you. And I think I'll just leave it at that. Except to say that it's also one of my favorite songs, Sam. Thank you. Didi goes, I've been looking for a video footage on YouTube when you came here to the Philippines. I want to see it again. I don't know if we have it. Didi. Unfortunately, one of the kind of challenges for Qkumba is that we happened at a time, about 10 years before YouTube and social media was a thing. So we never, we weren't thinking along those terms of like taking as much footage and sharing it as we could. I don't know if I can help you there, and I say with a question mark because we might have some old tapes, VHS tapes, but I don't know if I can promise sharing that with you. I'll have to look into it. Okay. Orchid says, my partner tells me that he grew up in a staunch Jehovah's Witnesses home where all music was to be religious. But his grandma and grandpa used to secretly jive to music. That is so cool. Love that. Okay. Thanks, Orchid. I'd love to see a Qkumba performance. I'd cry and dance and cry some more. That's from Sunny. Sunny, to be honest, I think I'd probably also cry. And then also dance. And then maybe cry some more as well. We're going to keep that in back of mind. Like I said, there's no absolutes. It's not like we'll never perform. But things would have to change. Opportunity would have to be there and things would have to move for Havana. So what can I say? No promises. And I won't, and if Havana ever gets it, that'd be great. If not, then that won't happen. But trust me, I'll be crying and dancing with you as well, Sunny. So Russell asks, what bands do you consider to be your greatest influence? How did they help you become who you became as a band? Let me just see if Lavana has answered something. She has, okay. So Russell, what influenced our music? And Lavana goes, Bach, Grieg, Blondie, Faithless, Seal, Heather Nova, Susan Vega, Phil Thornton are a few of her favorites. And then for me, it was Leonard Cohen, Neil Young, Bob Dylan, and And then more generally, a lot of the 80s bands, so Cure, Depeche Mode. So I'm going to mention those names and then kind of go to the next question, which is, well, how do we end up making music like Qkumba Zoo, which is very kind of Eurodancey? And the answer to that is, at that time, we were looking to do music that was more commercial than we were doing, which was more acoustic rock at the time. But creativity being what it was and us being who we are, we, I think, ultimately ended up doing, creating Eurodance style, but in a very different way, in a way that became our style, in a way that took a lot of these other influences. So I think a DJ once said to me in South Africa that he thinks of Qkumba Zoo as kind of Bjork meets Africa. Now, that's another artist, by the way, Bjork, that I really loved. In fact, I saw her live, but that's another question. I mean, another discussion for a different day. So with all these influences, I think you guys can probably hear that they come through anyway. Focus on the lyrics, melody, song structure. One thing we don't really do is rapping, and I think we were not very good at it, to be quite honest. But that's also because our background is actually in songs, in songwriting, in people, using the structure of a song to tell a story. So, Russell, I hope that answers your question. Again, Bach, Grieg, Blondie, yep. I also love classical. Faithless, in fact, I met Faithless once. And then at the time when we were doing Qkumba Zoo, I was obviously listening to, some Eurodance. So, I think, like, my favorites actually were Snap. What is that song? Yeah, anyway, made you shake your head. Soul to Soul, they went dance. I really liked what they were doing. Too Unlimited was big inspiration. Although I didn't listen to them the same way I would listen to some of the other guys. And so at the time, I immersed myself in a lot of that Eurodance stuff just to try and understand what they were doing. And coming back to an earlier question from Phil is, how are we evolving? Well, I'm personally going through another kind of evolution and evolvement of style, because I think the thing about Qkumba Zoo was always that, we had an ear to what was happening at the time. So the stuff that I'm doing now, I'm still attending online courses in modern music styles, and I'm hoping to bring it into the Qkumba Zoo sound, while still retaining the focus on songs, melodies, harmonies, the thing that we love doing, and you can see from our influences. So I hope that answers your question. Was it Russell? Yeah, Lovena, answering your question, about video from Philippines. Sorry, all our physical copies of videos got destroyed years ago when a storeroom leaked. Yeah, that's what happened. So we got photos, but I don't think we have any videos left. Lovena says, dancing and crying are good to do together. So Sam says about Flesh and Blood, beautifully put. Maybe that explains why the song resonates with me at the moment. Your vocals are magical on it. Thank you, Lovana, and sending happy vibes to you and Al. Thanks, Sam. Very much. Yeah, Bobby says, I saw you in a concert in Terre Haute. That's it. The one. So in the States, Chicago is pretty far north, and then about a 2 hour, no, I can't actually remember, like an hour's flight south of Chicago is a town called Terre Haute, and we performed there, and that's where Bobby saw us. It was actually a very, very cool gig. Bigger stage, bigger name artists. We performed with, what's her name? I want you always forever. Da, da, da. I know when you guys will tell me. I just can't remember her name. So that was very cool. Bobby, thanks for being here. Sam Bright, what is it like making a music video? So Luana says, well, that depends. When it's a small budget thing with the band being creative, it's the best fun ever. Recently, we made a video with some of our favorite kids, which was a total blast. So if you guys have seen Unicorns, that was like on the shoot. In fact, shoestring is not even the name. We didn't have any budget, so I used our GoPros to film. Savannah wrote the story, and then we had kids that we knew performing the storyline. So that's on the one side, and that's like awesome. Now, obviously, we struggle a bit with production value, but on the other hand, with the video, for Child Inside that you guys know that we made in LA, we did with someone called Ruben Afanador, who actually was a fashion photographer. Now, to me, that was amazing as well. I think there was like up and down sides to that video, partly related to the style of what was going to be worn in the video. And Lavana and Tiki had some like issues, but like I said earlier, I just kind of went along. But that's a lot, obviously takes a lot more time and effort. I think we shot over the whole weekend. So starting Friday, ending Sunday. And there you hurry up and wait. And then you're in getting makeup done, and then you're going out. And then there's obviously a shot list and a scene list. And there's a gaffer running around doing lighting. And then there's project managers getting the ice block in the corner. And then someone, the animal handler handling the butterflies that were released. So that, personally, I look fondly back on that creative process of making that video. Let's see if Lavana has anything to say about that. Yeah. Doing a big budget record company videos was hard work. Capitals. And tears streaming down her eyes. Lots of creative pushback, too many visions competing. So, personally, I actually think that video worked out really well. But yes, there was competing creativity issues, and not necessarily with the director Ruben, but with the stylist and some of the makeup and that kind of thing. But I mean, looking back now, I think that's pretty. It's kind of what you semi-expect. Hopefully, it doesn't happen, but it did happen. And I think in the end, the video still came out really awesome. Bobby goes, what year were you in Terre Haute, India? That was 97, I think. It was a long time ago. Yeah. Okay. Just looking out for more questions. Sunny goes, you're a literal angel, and I've loved your work and voice since childhood. That's to Lavana. Thank you, Sunny. I'm saying thank you on behalf of Lavana. My voice, on the hand, is not like that of an angel, which is why, and I told the story before, when Lavana and I first met and I asked her to play music with me, I was supposed to be the singer. And then she took over. It took me about 6 months to get used to the idea. That was a good thing. Russell Harvey says that Unicorn video was amazing. Thank you, Russell. If you guys haven't seen it, we will post a link to the video after the session on our Facebook page. So that's right. That weekend, when we made the original Child Inside video, we made 3 videos. It was Big Child Inside and Rain. The banner goes, making Rain big and the first child in one weekend was so awesome. All our buddies, loads of paraffin to burn under a derelict bridge in the middle of winter. Now, that derelict bridge is in the middle of Joburg. And when you say middle of winter, yeah, middle of winter. So, in fact, I'll show a link with all those videos. Because they're just very cool. I mean, you can see they were made on a shoestring, but the creative process and the support from friends and people we never met and people we did know, and just making the most of an urban landscape, urbanscape to make those videos. I mean, still to this day, like, Werner, can you remember the director's name? He actually did a phenomenal job on those videos. Okay. And then they sprayed me with, in the middle of rain, then they sprayed Lavana with water for the rain scene. Trust me. That was a real challenge. And even the Cloud Eyes video, also did in the middle of winter on a mine dump here in Joburg. Looks like a desert, but it was done on a mine dump in the middle. And I'm sitting there, so they start to see me lying on the ground. I'm doing like a zen moment where I'm like not freezing. And then as soon as the camera went over, I was like, back to survival mode. So yes, coming back to Child Inside video in LA. Ruben was a very creative man. We struggled with a fashion lady though. She had some very next season ideas we could not, So she wanted to, at the time, go and get what was happening in, I think it was Italy, the next sort of projection of what the next year's fashions were going to be. And Siki and Havana were like not interested. Yes, and we argued about the butterflies. In the original plan, they would have all been killed, and we said no. So we ended up using one butterfly carefully. The other 500 were released. All right, so you saw in the Child Inside, I think there's one moment where Lavana holds a butterfly. But there's the other scene where you see the butterflies released in the background. That wasn't the original plan. That happened because we argued with them about killing butterflies. Bobby says, Big is my favorite song. Thank you, Bobby. Yeah, cool song. One of my favorite songs, Russell says, is Into Night, which I sing. But yes, Lavana has an amazing voice. Any formal training or just natural? So Lavana did go through Russell. She did do some formal training before we started making any music. And to be honest, if any of you guys are singers, I would highly recommend that you do that. Not just because like it's dancing, but it can just help your vocals reach the potential that they can. Obviously, one of the things we're going for any kind of lessons is you've got to make sure you find the right teacher and that they don't take you. That's right. They don't take you in a direction you don't want to go. But any kind of training from someone who knows how to play that instrument, like singing, is a very good thing. So Lavana answers my question. Jürgen Allen was the director for those first 3 videos we did on a shoestring budget. Yeah, he did a great job. And Lavana says he was very upset later when our record company went over his head for the next video after all he put into it. Totally creative guy. Yeah, unfortunately that happened. So he did those 3 videos on a shoestring, and then when it came to making Cloud Eyes, the record label chose someone else. Yeah, shit. Anyway. Sunny Marcel, was there any major pushback when SeaWorld started using Child Inside to promote their parks? So let me come back to that question. Lavana goes, Russell, I believe to this day that the reason I... Songs. Lavana, what's that? Sing. Was because I had no lessons. Lessons killed piano and guitar for me. But you did have lessons. Singing was what I had left. Lavana goes, nope, the formal training I did in singing was 1999. Okay. Right, well, there's my memory. Alright, so coming back to your question, was there any formal pushback when SeaWorld started using Child Inside to promote their parks? Yes, SeaWorld. problem with the whole SeaWorld incident is that we only found out about 2 to 3 years after they started using the song that they were actually using the song. Well, I don't know exact time, maybe 2 years. So we found out from friends of ours who were living in the States, like, hey, do you know that, these guys are using the song? And of course, at that time, it was about 2001, 2002. And it wasn't just SeaWorld, it was also used in one of the cruise liners, and I think Virgin Travel. We, due to contractual issues, I think the American record label, Arista, felt they didn't need to ask our permission to use the song in any of those adverts. But we actually emailed them and asked them, try to follow up, like, what are you doing and why did you not get our permission, and etc., etc. And they politely ignored us and eventually sent us an email reply about the fact they didn't have to. No, we asked our local label, like, their regression, like, who gave them permission? And he said, just, there's no legal recourse to say do anything about it. So pushback, not at the time, but we've never been happy with SeaWorld using our song in that context of, we're not happy with animals in captivity. So as things goes, SeaWorld using our song is not the worst thing that could ever happen to it, except that we just do not agree with animals in captivity. And if they decided to use the song again, we would have something to say to them about it. So I'll let Lavanna do some writing if she has any to say about it. Sean, my cousin, thank you, man. Thanks for being here. So yeah, they totally went behind our backs, absolutely. And it's not even, not only to go back behind our backs in terms of permission, we never saw any money. I don't know we have no idea what the transaction is. Of course, Arista no longer exists, so that's probably just going to be something that happened that we will not be able to unravel beyond just what we know at the moment. Yeah, Bobby, Lavanna's on text, so she won't be singing today, but thank you. We'll definitely store that in the back of our minds as well. What's the time there? Okay, guys, we've got another 10 minutes. Thank you so much for these questions, and thanks for hanging out with us. It's like really cool, and really cool to spend time with you, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Ordinarily, I'm not the talking person, so all the interviews we did, it was Lavanna was the spokesperson, and then Tiki would also say a lot, and then when they needed a more sober response, they'd ask me. So getting the sober version of the Qkumba Zoo live stream. Sam asks, how did you decide to balance production in the songs? Some of your songs are mainly instrumental and others have electronic touches. Did the label try to push you in one direction or another? I think that's another great question. So talking about, say, Wake Up and Dream, firstly, we were discovering ourselves as we were going. I was discovering how to make that style of music as we were going. So, learning, you would think that 4 on the floor, dance music is fairly simple to make, and it took me a year to realize that it's not. Whatever style of music you're doing, whatever, road you go down, in order to do it well, there's a whole bunch of learning that goes with it. Secrets that you need to figure out about that style of music. So Wake Up and Dream is very much quite experimental for me, and our 2 producers did have pretty big influence on what we're doing. So I would bring, a lot of, I was creating our music on a ASR10 sampler. I would do all of that, the backing to it, but then they would make suggestions. So Alan's big thing was always have a big off, so I hadn't always put in there, but then he would put it in there, and yeah, made a it was that kind of stylistic thing. It wasn't in that record. It wasn't a major, creative direction, like changes they were making. I think one of the few things that didn't come from us, but came from outside Richard Sweat was the Arista A&R guy, and he said he would like something from South Africa that Americans hadn't heard. And so he suggested he asked us what we want to do, and then we said we want to do the song Weeping. Now, we haven't released Weeping online yet because of publishing issues, but I think I'm going to do it soon just so you guys have access to it. But Weeping was not written by us, it was written by a band called Bright Blue, and it was like a classic song from, like, anti-apartheid song from South Africa in the 80s. Like one of the most beautiful, I don't know, we just love that song. And it happened, it happened at a time where things like that could make a difference to the kind of culture at the point. So Bright Blue was a South African band that had a rock version of that song. We were asked to do it, or through a process, we kind of decided to do it, but we obviously did our own version on it, and including a key change towards the end of the song. So did they try to push in one direction? Not during Wake Up and Dream. It was more afterwards when we released Wake Up and Dream, and now we're trying to do our second album. And then they'll do things like bring in Barbie Doll by what's that band? Can't remember. And no offense to anyone who loves that song, but it wasn't who we were. That kind of cheesy Barbie Doll. Who wants to write a song about Barbie Doll? But he would bring that song in and go, this is a song, man, you got to do it. And we would look at Levana, or look at each other and go, okay, clearly there's a creative difference in how we see what we do and what they see what we do. And Ace of Base was also there at the time. Like, David Gresham had a relationship to their Swedish record label, and he was sort of trying to push us in that direction. But I think during Wake Up and Dream, there was but it was more of a creative kind of exploration of different ideas coming together, including from our producers. But afterwards, when we came to now, we had kind of set the tone. Now Gresham saw the tone in one sense, and we wanted to take what we've done and expand. And I think many of the songs on our second album were actually better than on the first, but we didn't have any production resources. So for me, the production wasn't as good, and it makes a difference to how people relate to it. Sam, I don't know if that answers your question. Okay. Sunny says regarding SeaWorld, yes, they totally went behind our backs. They did. Levana says about the SeaWorld ad, in the end I chatted with some of the SeaWorld people. I ended up accepting that I couldn't change and hoping that the whales got some love and used the music. Her answer is always so much better than mine. Matt Donnelly, thank you for sharing the alternative version of Torn with us a few years ago. Such a chill song. Thank you, Matt. Matt, I think you might be referring to, I'm in another band called Shine, and we did a acoustic version of it, of Torn, which I love both versions. In fact, I'm actually working on a third version at the moment. So thank you, Matt. I will maybe put that link in on our Facebook page when after the session as well. Bobby says, oops. Well, my camera's just gone on a quick holiday. I think, guys, that's probably a sign that time to start winding down. Been an hour here. By the way, really love doing these things with you. So thank you for being here, and hope you enjoyed it the same way that we are. And that these questions are awesome. And by the way, if any of this discussion elicits more questions, then please post them, and in our next live Q&A, we'll answer those questions. Thank you, Russell. Thank you for doing this. Love you both. Love you back, man. Matt Donnelly, your version of Weeping is amazing. Thanks, Matt. I like to think that as well. I really like our version. But that was a really interesting creative project, just how we created. The first thing I had to do was work out what the chords were, because they're not as simple as, often in hindsight, things look easy, but while you're in the middle of doing it, it's like actually, it took quite some effort to get that song done right. So in the last few minutes, please tell Al to hurry up and mix our lockdown musical experiment. He needs encouragement because it's a nasty job. Trying to make it sound good when all I did was sing into my cell phone. All right. Okay. So I'm going to, guys, not answer any more questions, but I think just start winding down. To let you know, we are releasing a new song. This new song is going to be, it's going to go in 2 stages. The first stage is the lockdown stage, where, because normally how we create is Lena will come to my studio and she'll sing while I'm there and I'll help to produce the vocals. But because we can't spend time together in the studio right now, she's literally taking her cell phone, putting a little Rode mic on and singing into her cell phone. So, of course, at the back of my mind, I'm like, my hair is turning grey because, the cheap microphone, cheap preamps on the phone. My job trying to get these to sound great is going to be 10 times harder. But I think they've actually worked out quite well. So I think by this weekend, we're going to be putting up a version of that song. It's not going to be the final release. It's going to be an interim COVID release on SoundCloud, which we'll make for download, so you can download it and you don't have to use up data. I think it's actually quite a cool song. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Keep your eye on this page on the weekend, and I'll let you know when it's up. Yeah, she sent me the file on WhatsApp, which kind of makes it even worse because they reduced the file size even more. Here we go. So Russell, new music intent. Okay. Okay, please don't forget the link. Yeah, Thomas, I'll come back and go through these comments. I've got something else on now, but in about 2-3 hours, I will put these links on the Facebook page. So guys, please look out for our song. We will be posting it here on the weekend. And bear in mind that it's not like a full-on production, so the mix is not going to be awesome, but I don't know, I really like the song. And Havana, any last parting words from yourself? To say goodbye. For myself, thank you. You guys have been amazing. I just love hanging out with you and spending time and sharing our stories, and I hope you find that interesting. And I would love, please, in terms of sharing stories, interact with us on our webpage, on our Facebook page. Let us know what you're doing. I'm going to start a post like asking you to guys share what you guys are doing during lockdown, so that we can all kind of go on this journey together. Every now and again, as some of you've seen, I release put on a post with a Spotify playlist. If you guys ever want to share your playlists on our Facebook page as well, with kind of including our songs and whatever you relate to that song, please absolutely do that. That'll be amazing. Lavana says, just wishing you all health and love, and let this time be a time of wonder. Yeah. With COVID-19 and kind of what it's done to the world, I don't think the world will ever be the same again. And it's up to us and people like you to help create a new roadmaps of how we're going to relate and be as human beings. So let us, as Lavana says, let this time, while we're dealing with the stress and the dark and everything, also let this time be a time of wonder. And I think on that note, I'll be saying goodbye. AJ, you just joined. Sorry, man. We just about to finish. But this video will be available and I'll be posting it on YouTube. And you can see I don't really want to go because I'm not making this terribly long goodbye. But thank you guys. Thank you for being here, and be safe, take care, do the right thing, do what you know works, do what the scientists say, not what the conspiracy theorists say. And but at the same time, make the time be a time of wonder for you as well. Okay, cheers. Take care.